Hey everybody, well here we are in 2024 and I just got taught a life lesson hard. I drove out to California and back in the canyon because I was getting married to my now wife in San Diego, and on the way back we were gonna pack up her daughter and move her across the country to Chicago, and we did all that and the truck did great. But before I went out there, I started getting a diagnostic trouble code for the downstream DPF filter sensor, and I cleared it before I left, and the whole way out there it was fine. It did come on when I got to Phoenix, and I cleared it again, and then it didn't come back on the entire drive home. But I knew it was a problem, and I talked to my buddy Sean about it, who has been a Mercedes mechanic for 10 years and has plenty of experience working on diesels. And he knows that vehicles sold in the US with diesel engines, ever since the new stricter emissions came out in like 2008 or whenever it was, have to carry a very strict emissions warranty. On this particular truck, it is an 8-year, 80,000 mile warranty that covers anything emissions related. So he suggested to me, well, take it into the dealer and they'll just replace it under the emissions warranty. And I didn't go into it blind. I actually called up the dealer that this thing was initially sold at to find out when the warranty actually kicked in to make sure it would still be active. And I called them up and they looked at the truck and said, sure enough, your emissions warranty is good till October 24th of this year. So we've got a snow day here in Wisconsin. I took the truck into the dealership, and the first thing they tell me is, well, you're gonna have to pay a diagnostic charge of $200. And I'm like, but I already told you what the problem is. I know what the DTCs are. And they're like, yeah, but I gotta pay my guys time for working on your thing, and we need to figure out why you're getting the code. It's like, okay, fair enough. I'll pay that charge. So I sign and I can pay for it. And the very first thing he says to me when I bring up the emissions warranty is, well, I'm not sure that what your problem is going to be covered under the emissions warranty. So I go sit in the waiting room, and he comes back 10 minutes later and says, well, I didn't realize that your truck was a diesel, so chances are it's probably going to be covered under the warranty, which is what I expect. So they inspect it for an hour, and the mechanic, this is what happens at dealerships these days when you take something in for service. So he recorded a little video, has the truck up in the air and said, hey, this is what we found. It is the downstream DPF sensor. It's got high resistance. They're a pain in the ass to get out, which I know. I've gone online and done research and looked at what other people have dealt with trying to get them out, and it is a pain in the ass. They almost weld themselves in there. And he said, well, it's going to take a couple, 3 hours to do it. So then the service writer comes up to me and says to me, yeah, it's probably going to be about 2 or 3 hours, but if he can get it done in under 3, he won't charge for 3. I'm like, well, okay, well, I don't understand why he's telling me about charging for anything, because this should be covered under warranty. And then he goes on to explain to me, the sensor is $330. Now keep in mind, I had the sensor. I actually bought it on Amazon and was going to change it before I even came out to California for $170. I got it. He's telling me it's $330, so double the price? I don't think so. And again, I'm like, why are you telling me what the price is? This should be covered under warranty. Well, it's I talked to my powertrain warranty guy, and it's actually not covered. And on top of that, I'd have to pay for the labor too. And I said, well, what's the labor rate? He said, $173 an hour. So to put that in perspective, when the GTO's fender got damaged and I needed to have it repaired, I took it to a shop that restores classic Ferraris. I'm talking like multi-million-dollar cars. You know what their hourly shop rate was? $135 an hour. $172 an hour shop rate. So think about that for a second. Assume that the mechanic is getting paid $50 an hour, which I doubt. He's probably not getting that much. But say he is, that means the dealership's pocketing $122 an hour for what? For what? So, of course I told him, no, you're not doing it. What are warranties for? I mean, it's an emissions device. It's a sensor that is part of the emission system. I have an emissions warranty and it's not covered under warranty. Are you kidding me? If I'd have let them do it, I would have ended up paying $1,000. $1,000 for a sensor that I paid $170 for, and I'm gonna have to pay again. So the only consolation is that when I went to pay for the diagnostic fee, it was only $164. So he must have meant it was really $150 with tax, but still, $164 is almost the same price as the sensor was in the first place. So the lesson I learned out of this is work on your own cars. Don't go to the dealer. They are rip-off artists. It's all just a scam these days to get as much money out of you as possible. And not just car dealers, I mean, we've seen this everywhere. Hotels, resorts, like I said, Ticketmaster, hidden fees, service fees, BS after BS after BS. So I will never take any of my cars to a dealer ever again. Not as long as I can work on them myself. I refuse to be raked over the coals like that ever again, and I regret ever having gone. You know, I try to share knowledge and information. That's the whole point of Josh's Car Corner. Learn from my experience. Go online, do the research. Whatever problem you're having with your car, figure out how to fix it yourself. If you don't have the tools, find a friend with tools. If you're not mechanically inclined, find a friend that is. Do it yourself. Don't let those rip-off artists make a ton of money off you, because it's just a huge scam and it is ridiculous. This is why you should learn to work on your car yourself. So this is the post-DPF emission sensor out of my Canyon. First thing that ever went bad after 54K. Dealer wanted $1,000 to replace this thing, $330 for another new sensor, and 3 hours of labor at $175 an hour. I found the sensor on Amazon brand new for $170, like new used condition for $95. They also said they were going to retap the threads on the bung. I have my own tap kit. I retapped it myself. So they wanted $1,000. I got the job done for $95. That is why you learn how to work on your own cars.